Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we share headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We share your comments, ideas, questions, and suggestions with one goal and one goal only: to nurture better connections or quality connections among ourselves as a community of English speaking locals living here in Puerto Vallarta, and also with our city, our way of life, Mexico's culture, and so forth. Today is Wednesday, December 7th, and as always, it is a pleasure to get together with you. And as always, we begin by inviting friends that are watching for the first time live to let us know. You can do that by adding the word new to your comment, and that way we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. Nothing more than that, but just we want to make sure that you feel welcome here in the cluster. And of course, as always, if there's something truly important that you are thinking of or that you'd like to share or get some feedback on, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. Before we get started today, we have all kinds of important news. Mainly, we want to talk about what to do with your maid and a Christmas bonus, whether is it required or not required, and how much to give, how much not to give. All that good stuff is a part of what we're going to talk about today, but we have other news and updates that I wish to share with you. So let's get started with that and take it from there. Okay, this very first topic made me laugh. The headline in the article reads, "Foreign tourists begin to arrive in Riviera Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta." And of course, I wrote it with a question mark because it would seem to me that while we can expect a notable increase on visitors in the second half of the month, visitors have been arriving already, and they are here in large amounts. I was out and about yesterday in Colonia Emiliano Zapata running errands, and I could definitely see how this very popular area for tourists was already, there were a lot of people out there. And when I attempted to get back to my neighborhood in the early evening, of course, I took a taxi, and the taxi went down the Libramiento, and traffic was quite extraordinary. Or maybe this is the new ordinary. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is that this business of tourists just beginning to arrive, I don't think that is the case. I think they have been arriving for some time. The flip side of that is if you have to conduct any business or run any errands in tourist popular areas in the city, well, you know what it's like, in which, people just increase. A few weeks ago, we reported on the fact that by law, the only banners that are allowed in Puerto Vallarta's main roads are government banners. So what are these meter-long Telcel banners doing out there? Well, Apparently, the popular cell phone company is behaving badly, as they apparently took it upon themselves to place a number of their banners along Francisco Medina Asensio Avenue, or maybe they worked in cahoots with a government official. We don't know the answer to that. But what we do know is that this practice is strictly forbidden by law, and violating this law from the city stipulates a fine of up to 50,000 pesos. Jalisco's Tourism Secretary Vanessa Perez Lamas informed that things are set in place for the joint tourism campaign involving Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit to continue next year, but that she will ask her Nayarit counterpart to increase the investment from 750,000 pesos to $750,000 US dollars to $1 million. This budget affords continuous promotion of the destinations, both Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit, moving forward with promotion in strategic cities in the United States, Canada, and a few European cities as well. And now let's talk about the Christmas bonus for your maid. A few days ago, someone was asking about the proper tip or Christmas bonus to give your local garbage collector. Well, we didn't come up with a specific suggestion, but what about that person that cleans your home on a regular basis? For starters, let's call the bonus properly. It is called aguinaldo, and this is a benefit that in Mexico by law must be presented to employees of any Mexican company every December by or before the 20th day of the month. By law, the aguinaldo must be equivalent to 15 salary days for those employees that have been in a company for a year at least, and it must be paid in cash, not in kind. But what about the maid? Even though some might think that this is a gray area, maids are also eligible to receive an aguinaldo by law. So if your maid has been at your service for a year or more, all you have to do is divide their monthly pay in half, and that would give you the amount you are supposed to pay. That said, many people that rely on someone to clean their homes develop a personal relationship with the worker of one kind or another, such that we are prone to exceed the amount stipulated by law. Now, what about the case in which your domestic worker has been in employment with you for less than a year? Well, the website empleojustoencasa.org or Fair Employment at Home offers a handy calculator that allows you to enter the number of days per week that you rely on someone to clean your home. You also enter their daily salary and the number of months that they've been at your service, and the website returns the amount you are supposed to pay. But again, being generous with a good home employee can be an investment, so consider leaning on the generous side as you calculate this very important amount. And speaking of employee benefits, the Chamber of Deputies Commission of Labor and Social Provision approved the paid vacation increase we've been mentioning for workers that have been employed by a company for a year, from 6 to 12 days every year. But with a proviso, employees are allowed to take up to 6 continued days, but the rest of the vacation time must be negotiated and agreed upon with the company, with the employer. This modification was introduced in support of smaller companies for which the continuous absence of a worker might be more challenging to maneuver. Now, what happens next? Well, the initiative must now go to the Senate so that it can be finally approved and published in the official Federation Diary, so it can go into effect on January 1st, 2023. Now, let's take a look at the weather for today and the following days. Personally, I am all for suspending the Constitution, says Snarky Carrot Weather. I say it is 25 degrees right now, feels like 28. Humidity is high at 81%. It's been rather humid in the last few days. I don't quite understand it. And of course, our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 77. Our forecast for today says humid, throughout the day with a high of 29 and a low of 20. Tomorrow, we can expect another humid day with a high of 28 and a low of 20. And we wrap up the work week with another humid day with a high of 28 and a low of 29. What else do we have in store? Well, I was very appreciative of the fact that cluster member, excuse me, Brandy Mercer kindly shared these images with me of construction being done at the pier in Boca de Tomatlan. You may recall that the construction of a new pier was announced a few months ago by Jalisco Governor Enrique Alfaro. Unfortunately, the resolution of the images is not very high, so it's difficult for me to ascertain whether the construction that is going on at present time is a band-aid for the existing pier, as was suggested at some point, or whether the brand new pier is what is presently being built. Regardless, this is hopefully good news for anyone relying on this important departure point on a regular basis. And speaking of sharing photos, I want to share this one that I've been talking about for some time. I meant to share this one with cluster member Pat Reese. It was taken during our last meet and greet, but I might as well share it here. This would be, of course, me staring at Pat's bosom or her breasts. I was commenting on her tattoos, and she was showing me one of her tattoos with much pride on top of her right breast of a rat. So yes, that's me reacting to the rat tattoo. And I suppose that calls for one of those. Now, December 7 is today, and I want to remind you once again that the Bucket Brigade is taking place this afternoon at Nacho Daddy, according to the instructions. All you have to do is get a bucket and fill it with non-perishable food items for Christmas and bring it today to Nacho Daddy on December 7th. Today is December 7th, between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., I believe, or sometime during the afternoon. Last year's event was able to feed 50 families, and they are hoping to double the number for this year. And last but not least, I would like to ask you to kindly save a date. Our next members-only live broadcast is going to be on Thursday, December 15 at 5 p.m. These broadcasts allow for a great opportunity to connect up close and personal with those of you that have kindly chosen to support Coffee and Headlines with an ongoing membership. And it allows us to feature a couple of you that wish to come live with me so that we can know a little bit more about who you are. And of course, this being the December get together, we are going to feature end of the year stats so that you can see how we're doing here at Coffee and Headlines. And we are going to discuss the meaning of the posadas, which actually start on the following day. And most importantly, we are starting, hopefully, a new tradition at Coffee and Headlines. I am knocking on doors of choice friends and members of the cluster that are also business owners here in town. And I am asking for little giveaways that we can give to you during the broadcast. I already have some confirmation from the Secret Wine Bar. I have confirmation from Hotel Mercurio. I have confirmation from the Vallarta Co-working Hotel. And I am continuing to send out requests for little gifts to give away to those of you that are members of the cluster in appreciation for your support. We will have more details about this in the next few days. And now let us take a quick look at your comments for today. And why am I not hearing the comments? The music. This is the second day that I don't hear it. I'm going to look into this right after the broadcast. Anyhow, I see a lot of good mornings. Good morning from David, south of Boston. It's great to read you, David. Logan, yay, time to chat aguinaldos and vacation days. Very appropriate, as this is exactly what I'm working on for my staff this morning. Good luck with all the counting. Let's see what else we have. Do. Frank says, quite a different kind of show yesterday during the comments portion, something we are not used to. Well, Frank, even in the best of families, there are bound to be feathers that are ruffled from time to time, and that is precisely what happened yesterday. But I should say that these opportunities give me a good, these occasions give me a good opportunity to pause and think and refocus on the goal of Coffee and Headlines as a project. And as I mentioned earlier today, and as I mentioned every single day, the goal of Coffee and Headlines is simply to create and foster nurturing connections between ourselves and the destination and our country. Nothing more, nothing less. Today is Mijal's birthday. Of course, Mijal, happy birthday. And a good one, I should say, it was Barry's birthday, her husband, a few days ago. So happy birthday to the both of us. And let's see what else we have. Sage reminds us of the El Patio upcoming handmade in PV. Oh my God, I'm getting stuck on the name. We have been talking about this. We've mentioned it before, and as long as I was reminded to mention it again. Let me find it, and I will put it on the screen. It's very easy to do that. And this is what we're talking about. No, not that one. Sorry, my bad. It's this one. Well, that one's also happening, but we are talking about the upcoming edition of this wonderful Hecho a Mano PV market where you can purchase craft items made by local artists. And hopefully this will be a great place to find Christmas presents. Let's see what else we have. Chris asks, what is the Christmas tradition for a Christmas tree in Mexico? It's not that dissimilar from Christmas tree in other places that I know of. Trees are either purchased natural trees, and the kind of pine tree that is chosen is the oyamel, or some people buy synthetic trees. What's important is that there's an increasing number of organizations that allow you to either recycle or replant your tree. This is not necessarily easy to come by, but it happens. And trees are adorned with ornaments, just as in every other place or any other place that puts up a Christmas tree. So, Chris, if you are from the United States or perhaps even Canada, I don't know specifics about traditions up there, but I don't think our Christmas tree tradition is very different from that of our two neighboring countries up north. Let's see what else we have. Sherry says, by December 15th, we will be in Puerto Vallarta, and I'm hoping there will be a live get-together to meet in person. I don't know how long you are going to be in Puerto Vallarta, Sherry, but our next live get-together, or in-person get-together, rather, will probably not take place until the second half of January. How do we learn when our yearly membership expired so it can be renewed? Great question, Harold. Thank you for that. Usually, if all goes well, Buy Me a Coffee, the company that I rely on to manage our memberships, sends a reminder. Sometimes these reminders, however, can get lost in your spam folder in your incoming mail. So if you are curious about this, feel free to send me a note, and I would be happy to research this for you. The membership, by the way, renews automatically unless you choose to cancel, which is also an option. Let's see. Vern says, new first live show. Vern, welcome. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. I hope you find something useful here. It is great to see you. Let's see what else we have. Lucy says that there will be a posada in this upcoming edition of Hecho a Mano Puerto Vallarta. So that'll be a great additional opportunity to attend the event. And this, my friends, brings us to the end of today's broadcast. As always, I thank you for your company. I thank you for your questions and your connections. If you connected, spread the word. Feel free to support. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.